Good morning, everyone here and everyone there, everyone in the middle. Thank you very much. Here you are with what appears to be with me and Tibetan Buddhist Society, and as well as anyone who are online. Thank you very much. This is Sunday morning, 11 o'clock. We will do the regular calm abiding meditation for 30 minutes. Followed by the talk. So thank you. Please sit upright in a good meditation posture so that you are able to switch on your awareness to stay very present in doing the meditation. And you can allow your intention to be as broad and vast and inclusive as possible, not just for you and me and others who are doing just this, but for all the others. When one person is calm and peaceful and kind and compassionate, he or she really affects everyone, those around them, and that ripple effect can go very far. So our meditation is dedicated for radiating this calm and peace and understanding that we need to have. So with this in mind, we will first do the prayers to invoke, to recollect the wholesome and inconceivable qualities of the Buddha, the enlightened mind, and inspired by the historical Buddha who did so, and has continued to inspire millions every moment ever since his enlightenment till today. It has completely stayed like a torch. It has never gone off. It's just constantly burning. And so with that awareness of the incredible qualities of Buddha, we too have been lit somewhat by the Dharma, the radiation of that light that shone. Since then, and ever since we heard and read and even meditated, and you realize how much the truth of Dharma helps us to become a little bit more sane and more clear in our minds, and there is nothing to it. What is there really? There's no real thing that's other than our mind's ability to make sense of our own minds and not hold on to too much to anything really, because and so we come to realize the illusoriness of all appearances and activities or ups and downs are just really just a passing scenery of us. Is a very 200-mile speed train. You can see how much you can see. That is there. Is the purpose is to reach somewhere or look what's in the window. So it's very important to meditate until we realize our mind as a Sangha practitioner is putting the mind to best use, making ourselves very resourceful friend. On top of all other friends, all other friends are good, but only if we have the real friend, that is our own mind in its most luminous, useful, wise, and generous thought. So with this understanding of refuge in our mind, we do the prayers. Thank you, everyone. Oyenda Buddha Dhamma Sangha Aitere Pete Laitama Bhavacha Ajevendala Ashare Padavachave Endabu Dhamma Sangha Aitere Pete Laitama Bhavacha Ajevendala Ashare Vadarabe Endapo Dharma Sangha Aitere Vijaladama Vaja Adyandala Ashare Vadarabe. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power of happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they know a power of happiness that know no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, aversion, those and far. May all beings have happiness and cause of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the cause of suffering. May they never part from happiness that knows no suffering. May they dwell in equanimity, free from attachment, and those near and far. So with these prayers now we will do the meditation. Please stay very present in your discipline to sit still in a correct posture, that we are not passively sitting, but we are actively minding the posture, particularly keeping the spine straight and whole body still, and eyes, gaze, lips, teeth, and hand gestures, all, as you know, you should stay very present, just checking if I'm sitting correct or not. Just calmly try to tell yourself and stay very present in keeping the diamond postures. Really, it will shift many things. So try to sit very still and with very sincere motivation, with a very serene attention, and with a simple technique. And that's during the first 10 minutes. Second 10 minutes is you use the same posture, but focus your attention to the qualified round breath. And you again use the very attention is very much focused on the breath, following each segments of the 3 breath, incoming breath, the permeating breath, outgoing breath. When it occurs, you are with, doing, knowing, seeing, feeling, and at the end of each exhalation you count 1, and try to stay very present in doing the count forward without losing the count, as well as the qualities, the awareness, the technique, the mindfulness, the posture, all synchronized together. During the third 10 minutes, we will do the reverse counting from maybe 30 backwards. Maybe whatever number you have reached, try to count reverse. It's really good to know, use the reverse counting as improviser of your sharpness of your concentration. So let's do that, everyone. Thank you, everyone. And we'll do that to begin the meditation. Thank you. thank you everyone for the meditation. The meditation is very important to enable us to not only temporarily stay calm and peaceful, but also to develop the mind that actually can see the true nature of things as it is. So today's topic of the talk is about vision, to see the actual truth. Yeah. So often we talk about in the teachings the insight, and but in Buddhism, when we talk about vision, there are 5 types of vision. That's the kind of classical way of looking at it. And so these are sensorial vision of the eyes, and then the second is the divine vision. That's a vision of those beings in the God realm. And the third is the wisdom vision. So that is where you develop the insight through study and listening and meditation. The bodhisattvas have that wisdom vision, and then the fourth one is called dharmic vision. The dharmic vision is a vision of the Buddhas, fully enlightened ones, fully enlightened beings, how they perceive. And then the fifth one is the wisdom vision. Wisdom vision is those who have meditated and who realize and who see the true at the emptiness. Yeah. So I would like to go over these 5 a little bit in depth, so that this is all based on traditional teachings. Yeah. Traditional teachings talk about 5 visions, and the first vision, the sensorial vision. Sensorial vision, they usually think is not the sensorial vision is called obscured vision. So our vision, this particular vision that we have, is of course relatively true, relatively correct vision, I suppose. but it's actually, we are only seeing what we are choosing to see, and we see what we thinking, but we are not really seeing the actual thing. What we're looking at is obscured by our mental thought about it. So this is called the vision of the gods in the four guardians. The 4 guardians are considered to be the desirem gods, and they live in the what we call the contaminated wholesome life, but their perception, their vision of things are obscured by one, and the thing they're looking, actually it is itself is not seen. Like we call always, oh, it's your projection, it's all in your mind. They're saying that you're not seeing what's there, you're seeing something that is obscured by your own thought or your delusion. So this is what they call sensorial vision, is a deluded vision that is colored by your desire, your craving, or your attraction to something. When you're attracted to something, they look much better or nicer than they actually are. When you have enmity or you have anger, they look more hostile than they actually are towards you. So this is called contaminated visual vision. Visual vision. So in Lamde, in Dharma teachings, it will call deluded vision. Delusion. Yeah, delusion is a deluded perception. So most of the time, whatever we say, I saw it, I heard it, I think, these are all deluded vision, But interesting thing about this, we don't know it's a deluded vision as a deluded vision. We still think it's a correct vision. We think I'm correct. And so we really are hard on thinking this is my view, my point of view. So we don't realize how it is completely colored and obscured by our preconceived ideas, whether very gross emotions or the habits or propensities are kind of overriding our mind. We don't realize it is completely obscuring you from seeing even the relatively correct reality of what the object is, So all the shared perception of the relatively correct views. For instance, when we see airplane, we say airplane. We also we go to the airport and we see airplane. Of course, nobody will say, "Oh, it's your projection," because they can also see the airplane, and we can also see the airplane. So nobody thinks anybody got a deluded perception. But the cows and dogs, I don't think they see the airplane at all. They wish they were grass, they could eat them. The cows and dogs don't see the airplane, because they don't have any preconceived or conceptual ideas of airplane as airplane, so they don't see airplane. Even those villagers who have never traveled or never, probably when they first heard the noise of the airplane flying, they think it's a terrible thing. I'm sure people have experienced this. So unless we have propensity laid in our mind that obscures the actual what it is, so if we don't have concepts and ideas that obscures our mind, or that creates a figment in our mind, we don't see airplane, even if it's airplane in the relative world. We have to have a kind of a, we have downloaded the app of samsara to make us to see that. So this is called visual vision, or deluded sensory perception, deluded sensory vision. Now this is what everyday to-day life experience of every one of us is that. So let's not talk too much about it, because when we meditate, when we study, when we do the practice, we try to go over the deluded sense of perception. The second one is called divine vision. The divine vision is the tradition talks about the gods in the 33 realm. God in the 33 realm, their vision is a divine vision, because they have much more higher wholesome merits, and they can actually see everything simultaneously. They can see not just airplane at the airport, but they see the cows in the barns, and they'll see the calf in the cow's tummy. They can see everything simultaneously. So this is a good divine vision. So divine vision is like you have a lot, 20 million screens of television, and you can see 20 million objects all simultaneously, but still what they're seeing is still deluded. What they're seeing is still deluded, but they can see many things simultaneously. So that's a divine vision. I don't know. I don't think we'd be interested to know that. I don't think it's very interesting to know. But it is possible that you could develop some kind of contaminated meditative experience during which you have this incredible many visions comes to you simultaneously, that doesn't require your eye to contact with the sense object itself. You don't even have to be near to the object. But for us to see the airplane, we have to go to the airport. But we can't see the airplane in your room. Well, hope not. But the gods in the 33 realm can see airplanes airplanes, cow barns, everything. They can see everything simultaneously. That's called divine vision, Now, would you think that's true? That's only true to the gods in that 33 realm gods, but I don't know whether that would be any use. But should you or me have any meditative experiences during which some of this vision opens to us, we see so many things simultaneously, which is quite a lot of meditators do experience. They have incredible flash of visions come to their mind, not so simultaneously, maybe one after another, quite contrast to the actual room or place they're sitting, but they have all these visions. So that is the divine vision of the devas in the particularly 33 realm. The difference between this first sensorial vision of the Chatur Maharaja, the four guardians vision, which is like ours, like we can see things, but we can see things that are only obscured and figment of our own imagination. We are seeing figment of our imaginations. And whereas the gods on the 33 realm, they can see many figments of imagination all simultaneously. Maybe it's an optical illusion. They don't even have to go anywhere. They can see everything. They don't have to go to see one finite object to see one finite object. They can see many, many infinite objects and infinitely simultaneously. So that's quite an interesting vision. Now the third vision is a Dharma vision. The Dharma vision is bodhisattvas. So the bodhisattvas vision is they can see all phenomena that they see as illusions. So Dharma vision. This is the Dharma vision. And when your meditation is good, or maybe sometimes even the teachings tells you everything is illusion, but we say yes, we nod our head for a couple of minutes, and after that we still are grasping. So our Dharma vision is very, very fleeting, very, very fleeting. But the Bodhisattva's vision of Dharma vision of that everything is illusion is constant, So for them, there is no ups and downs. They will see everything is, whether you go something very nice or bad or whatever, everything is illusion. So you don't get attached to this, or you don't develop aversion, because that Dharma vision is seeing the illusoriness of all things. And then they have the incredible compassion to the ordinary beings who are deluded, like the four guardians, like we are under that category. And then, because we think what we see is real, but the bodhisattvas have compassion and in seeing the disability, the blindness of the fleshy eye of the sentient beings. Ordinary eyes of the sentient beings do not see anything, really. They only see incorrect things as correct, impermanent things as impermanent, unsatisfactory things and unsatisfactory, and they are so deluded. And so the bodhisattvas are always in that meditative state of seeing the illusoriness of all things. They know that what you and I see an airplane, they're smiling, they're giggling, oh, they see the airplane, oh, they see cows, oh, they see loved one, oh, they see hated one. Oh gosh, they were only loving each other only years ago. Now they're hating like each other. God, so the bodhisattvas are always seeing this illusion. Both past objects of love or present objects of enmity are both illusion for the bodhisattvas. So bodhisattvas have this vision of seeing everything as illusion, and if our practice, some of among us will have some kind of benefit of being able to reflect on this more regularly than fleeting moments. If your meditation is good, you will see everything and anyone or anything that you attach to or anything that's not happening the way you like. You would not really be hampered by them because you see them all as illusion. Why? You are developing some kind of merit of the bodhisattvas. Because why do the bodhisattvas have this? Bodhisattva has an unobjectified merits. Unobjectified merits means they don't see an an object having independent, independent unitary qualities in itself. The Bodhisattvas see everything is dependently originated. They don't see anything independently created, permanently created, truly created. Bodhisattvas see everything is propped up by many, many things. They see everything is interdependently originated. Even deluded perception of sentient beings also, they see them as interdependently originated, and therefore Bodhisattvas are having compassion to the sentient beings who do not see illusion as illusion, and they see the illusion as real, impermanent things as permanent, and unsatisfactory things, they are undesirable things, but they're still desiring. So the Bodhisattvas have therefore radiating incredible compassion to the sentient beings who lack this dharmic vision. We read the Dharma, we write the Dharma, we meditate, so that we have this kind of a vision more readily. Insight, we call insight in Buddhism, when we say insight meditation, is seeing the illusions and impermanent things as impermanent things as impermanent things, illusions as illusion. So you don't see someone being bad to you, because even the good that you saw is itself was illusion. So you are too attached to the illusion, thinking they were perfect, and they're just changing. That's all they're happening, and you are not seeing the change. You're neither seeing the change in them, nor you are able to change your attitudes. Because of that, you are suffering from attachment and aversion and enmity, all of that. So therefore, Bodhisattvas have this incredible compassion for the blindness from which the sentient beings suffer from not having the Dharma vision. So Dharma vision is the insight. That is the insight. Bodhisattvas, of course, these are not just this is not just conceptual visions. Yeah, they have meditative. Whether they meditate or not meditate, whether they are in session or not, whether they are teaching or not, they always see this. And so if somebody comes to talk to them and nicely, somebody comes them to talk, attack them, they don't get attacked. They don't have any difference. Both are equally illusion, but they don't sort of treat them indifferently. They will still be able to tailor however compassionate response they need to do for the sake of pleasing the deluded, but for themselves are not really upset by one or attached to another, because they have this vision to see the impermanence and illusory and transient things as transient. So that's why when we meditate, we try to get rid of the contaminated figment of our negative emotions and try to develop a state where we are not influenced by the propensities or habits or attachment and karma and the like. Our thought. We are not doing our thought of ill will or poor me anymore. Because of that, you're more likely to have the Dharma vision. Seeing my thought, my emotion, what the person did or didn't are all illusion, really. They are no longer there. So why I'm so worried about it? It's not even there. It wasn't even there then, let alone now, there. So even then it was not there, let alone now. Yet we are suffering from then's perception and not even seeing that things have changed ever since. So we lack the Dharma vision, but we are trying to practice so that we develop the wholesome, meritorious vision that you can see all phenomena as illusion. Not just some as keep some as illusion, not like that. Even the very, very many good things that are happening in your life, you still do not think that this is me and mine and this is fantastic. You still see them as illusion. I don't know whether you want to go there or not, because sometimes you wish they were real. When some things are going very well, you don't want to think them illusion, do you? This is the problem. Even when things are going very, very well, you should see them as illusion. not only things are difficult, that even things are going very well. The bodhisattvas have seen all phenomena. They were, before the God and the 33 realm could see all things equally at the same time. But the bodhisattvas are not just, bodhisattvas are not seeing different things at the same time. Bodhisattvas see the sameness of all things. That's illusoriness of everything. Illusoriness of everything. That everything is illusion. And then they have this awareness that sentient beings who don't have the reserve of merit, unfortunately, don't see these things. And therefore they are carrying on and their karmic childish reactions and thoughts. They're doing these kind of thoughts, they're doing this kind of words, and they're doing this physically, verbally, mentally, and then they are actually creating their own suffering, and then they develop compassion for the sake of the sentient being. But from the bodhisattva's point of view, they are unperturbed by anything, because they're in the state of what do you call the Dharma vision. And so that's why when you see somebody really difficult, maybe to many people, and when you have this, you will see the person who's really doing difficult things to you as a not only illusion, but cause of your compassion for the sentient beings who are driven by their karma and habits and propensities, and that they are not aware of what they're doing to them, to others, and yet their kind of unruly behavior arouses our compassion. And therefore we are much more than connected. So we may be able to stay ourselves in the state everything's illusion, but you actually become much more used. Now the lotus is in the mud, because now the lotus is more beautiful in the mud, because the mud of samsara, sentient being, enables you to see the compassion that you need to apply. You are not tainted by sentient beings' behavior, like the mud does not harm the lotus, but lotus need the mud. And so illusoriness of things is there, but sentient beings who don't see the illusoriness and then get attached to it, then you become much more connected to the sentient beings with compassion for your only child type of thing, who do not know this, and therefore your illusory meditation is just for you to remain in that state yourself unperturbed. But for the sake of the sentient beings who do not see the illusion as illusion, then your compassion makes you to stay very connected with everyone. You might not even tell them that everything is illusion, because they wouldn't. You don't tell them everything is illusion. This is what I get it, and this is why I don't suffer. You don't say that. You still have to come down to the lotus level that's in the mud. You still have to go and talk to them, or do a few things with them, and make them feel that you are 100% behind them. Slowly, your skillfulness is there to teach them to lift up their cataract, because the cataract is the deluded obscuration. The deluded obscuration doesn't allow them to see. So maybe you can say, oh, maybe I can take to a doctor. You have a cataract. Oh, really? Oh, where's the doctor? Yes, yeah, I'll tell you. And then they don't know, they're talking to the doctor. They're talking to the doctor. They say, I'll take you to the doctor. He's got a very good machine, good operating system, and that's called listening, and that's called contemplating, and that's called study, and then you slowly will give you the vision, that like a blind is given the sight, yeah? Like the blind is given the sight would be very good, isn't it? It's like that. Those people who are lost in the poor me mentality, and then when they hear the Dharma, and then even though their realization is inadequate, but they know it's their deluded mind. they don't think it's truly there out there anymore, which is second best than thinking everything is illusion, which is they can almost nod their head, yeah, I will get there, eventually I'll get there, but in the meantime, they are able to have their cataracts removed. So the deluded perception is gone whenever their mind is constantly thinking of that, whenever they're following the right advice of the doctor, and then their eye operation has a successful, and so they're able to see the transitoriness, impermanence, illusoriness of things, interdependentness of things, and as a result of that, the more they listen, think, contemplate on these terms, the more they too have the distant vision. They can see in the far, yeah, it's still out there, but I can't see very clearly. I can see there, yes, thank you for pointing me. But still it's not very clear, it's way too far, But every time you come to that particular position where you could see the mountain or whatever, then you can see, yeah, I can see that, But you have to go there early or particular kind of occasion during which you can gain the sight. And likewise, when you are meditating regularly, when you're listening to the teaching, when you're really thinking, you can sometimes see that incredible. Yes, then what the person that you thought he is or what she's doing is no longer that. It's your figment of imagination make him or her do that. But otherwise, there's nothing independently, truly existing in the person that is there. So then you become, there is this incredible. So it is because your worry, your stress comes from attachment to this person or aversion to this person, thinking that's my son or my daughter or my friend. It's happening to them. When you have this attachment, then it becomes so serious. But when you don't have those figment of delusion, and then this is not there, so you can almost tell the more frequently you are able to remember, recollect the Dharma, meditate on the Dharma, then the more frequently you are able to know impermanent things as impermanent. You don't have to say everything is illusion just yet. You just say everything's impermanent. Remember? Yes, everything's impermanent. Sort of there's a little bit of grinning towards yourself. Yes, everything's impermanent. It's not there, but I'm still thinking it's there. So there is some kind of a. You can see I'm not there yet, but I know how to get. I need to get there. So you have this incredible kind of a connection with that mentality if you want to have Dharma vision. In order to enjoy Dharmic vision, you have to do more Dharma. Do more Dharma means study, meditate, think dharmically, resort to kindness, compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, and non-attachment. Do no judgment to anyone or anything. Don't look on other people's flaw, because you have got plenty, because that's the proof of it, because you're doing it when you're judging others. When you're judging others, you're full of flaws. So you can see the futility and waste of it. And whether you're self-pitying or worrying about yourself or something, all these are very obvious dirt. They're very obvious cause of the cataract. And so when you have this, you have the Dharma vision. Yeah, Dharma vision is only in the domain of the bodhisattvas. Bodhisattvas renew their bodhicitta every day, 6-7 times formally. They always try to remember bodhicitta and try to do whatever they do for the benefit of others. They don't do it for themselves because they don't see the self as very important anymore as it used to. It only has become it only has proven that self has been the root cause of all the problems. So now you're doing less of ego. So therefore you're not as doing as much ego as you used to, and you couldn't believe what a relief it is doing. And as a result of that,
you have this bodhicitic motivation, very altruistic for the sake of others, and seeing the illusoriness of all things. And then now the fourth one is the enlightened vision. That's only the Buddhas have. The Buddhas in enlightened vision is they have realized the pure wisdom of discerning reality of things as it is. So one who's fully enlightened has enlightened vision, Buddha vision. The Buddha vision is not thinkable or not conceivable by our ordinary mind. They say the mind of the Buddha's perception and vision is inconceivable. So Buddha's vision is inconceivable. But to say that they see this for that and all together they see everything simultaneously, everything is illusion, what are you talking about? There's no word that you can describe the Buddha's vision. It is transcendental. So Buddha vision is the enlightened vision. Enlightened vision has no comparison, because that comes from the right view and right meditation. And they can see the ultimate level. They can see everyone is Buddha. Buddhas don't see non-Buddhas. Buddhas don't even see the Buddhas. Buddha don't see anything. The Buddha vision is no vision. Very good. So there's no eye, no ear, no nose, and no wonder why we have all these 26 nose in Heart Sutra, If that's not enough, read the Diamond Cutter Sutra. They got 350 nose, I tell you that. If more nose is better, they read the 8,000 verses. There are 8,000 verses, 8,000 nose, If you read the 25,000 perfection of wisdom, there are 25,000 no's, So when there is the Buddha don't do anything. To the Buddha there is nothing to see. For the Buddha there's no vision. Buddha don't have the kind of ordinary vision that we get. Buddha's vision is incredible, inconceivable. It completely overrides everything. And now the fifth one is a wisdom vision, and that is through the blessings of the gurus and teachings and Dharma and refuge, we can get wisdom vision. Meaning we have every one of us, I'm pretty sure, we are all sticking together in a Dharma in one way or another. It's because we got that little Dharma vision. We know how so true it is. We are believer. Yeah, believer's vision, Even if something is really hard, you just know you have to be patient. Even if you're losing something very special, but you know you have to let go. You see? This is the wisdom. This is a wisdom vision, Even though something was really difficult to you, but you don't want to do the same thing to them, it's a complete waste of time. You see? This is the Dharma vision. This is the Dharma vision, This comes from realization. This comes from study. This comes from meditation. This comes from reading. This comes from doing the sadhanas. This comes from your reading the Dharma and listening to the Dharma. You really know this, however inadequate your actual meditation is, but still you know that as a Buddhist, as a disciple of the Dharma, you don't do that ill will. If somebody is nasty to you, somebody is difficult to you, you just practice kindness to them. See, it's incredible. You have the vision. You just let go. You just don't do any more of that. You just like, maybe you want to drink alcohol, but you just don't drink alcohol. That's it, Maybe you want to eat lots of meat or you just do less and less, It's incredible how many of you have changes. Incredible. I mean, there's, some changes still not happening, but some of the changes that you have done is incredible. And the people who do lots of things for each other and for others, like previously they would be very mean and they're very calculative, but now they do for each other like nothing, Why? Because that's the Dharma's wisdom. That's the vision of the wisdom of the Dharma knows. And even if somebody's really, really difficult to you, you see, this is my past life's mother. Oh, I'm sure it is, And you really have this, you really believe that, and you therefore do not treat them with contempt or treat them with vindictiveness. You just don't do them anymore. Why? You have the wisdom to change your behavior, wisdom to change your conduct and attitude. So you can see the how much true we are seeing the Dharma. Sometimes we may assess our practice, seeing how many hours we're sitting on the cushion or doing the so-called Dharma practice. But look at the actual life or the attitudes of yours completely molded by the Dharma, It's incredible, really. You can see the amazing how many of your thoughts and attitudes have been so seasoned and blessed by the Dharma. I call this blessed, but blessed doesn't mean kind of divine or some supernatural power. It means how much you have adopted the changes, how much you have dropped your views that are bad, that are wrong, and how much you have adopted the wisdom and the views and the teachings is constantly teaching you. This is the vision of the teaching. This is always teaching you. The wheel of Dharma is always turning. The wheel of Dharma is not working 8 hours and then 20, then 16 hours is not turning. It's not like that. If you only practice 2 hours a day and not the rest of 22 hours, that's not Dharma. Person who has the wisdom of Dharma is always incorporating the Dharma. Whether you're operating the sawmill, or whether you're doing the school canteen, or whether you're doing the voluntary thing at the Lifeline bookshop, or whether you are doing something at home, or whatever, your knowledge of Dharma is always switched on. Well, hope so. And if you're doing some sadhana practice and so on, but you don't think, this is that, you don't get attached to them. Sure, you know how to synthesize your practice, and you now have the what you call the vision of the wisdom, the wisdom of the Dharma that came from your study, your reading, your realization, and the blessings of the unbroken lineage. And then you have this incredible gratitude to our spiritual lineage. And this is not just one lineage, okay? This is all the lineages. Even those lineages we don't have any connection to, we know they're all connected. They all come from the same Buddha. And you don't feel any discrimination between schools and traditions and ethnicity. You see how they all are stemming from the same Buddha mind and their teachings. You watch the Burmese, you watch the Thais, you watch the Japanese, you watch the Indonesians, whatever way they practice, incredibly inspiring, how all are blessed by his incredible wisdom from that. And therefore you have this pure vision to see all as affected, and therefore the pure vision is that you don't have this biased towards our things and a bias against others. We rejoice everything. And you don't do jealousy. You don't do poor me. Because you have the vision of the wisdom. So of these 5, we could say we normally are in the first group and we try to be on the last group. Because the last group is we want to have the wisdom of Dharma continuously. We even put malas on our neck as we are wearing something. We carry some Dharma bag or a few unpartable things, the Vajra and bell, or people carry various things to say they are Dharma practitioner, or mala bag or whatever. But most important is this wisdom, This wisdom is not metals. This wisdom is not some kind of paraphernalia that you have to import from Nepal. Or this wisdom is incredible. It comes in, so it doesn't have to. Particularly if the wisdom has got into your brain, that wisdom has got into your attitude, that wisdom has got into your heart and your attitudes, your thought. Then you can see this is the vision of the wisdom. And for some reason, you no longer you don't suffer anymore. Because, when people are deluded, like the first one, deluded vision, if something happens, they go and suffer and ill will and anger for weeks, months, years. But the person who has this vision of the wisdom, they won't do that anymore. Even a couple of hours, they don't do, let alone days and weeks and months. Ridiculous. What's the point of reading a couple of 60, 70 page sadhana every day if you're doing that sort of thing? You're just burdening yourself for unnecessary reading. The real sadhana is not doing the deluded vision, not doing that kind of deluded vision of obscure perceptions. You don't do the obscure perception anymore. You have a little bit of reserve of merit of the Dharma. As a result of that, your vision of seeing everything as illusion, everything as a not truly existing, everything's impermanence and so on is there. But most importantly, you are completely practically engaged in the real life and the Dharma, inseparable. So Dharma isn't something you do outwardly, but it is how constantly you are dharmaing. Means you are changing your visions. You are changing your realize, oh gosh, I didn't realize. You have to put on the new spec on, and so that you have the Dharma vision, so that you don't wear the normal spec of the deluded spec. Deluded spectacles. People whose sight is not good, they wear the glass, they feel great, don't they? Now, wait until you wear on the Dharma glass. So that's the vision of Dharma. Even you get very old and your eyes, maybe eyes are aging, but your vision and belief in the Dharma becomes even more youthful, more stronger. And so this kind of insight comes from study and listening and contemplating and thinking the Dharma. And always questioning your perception, really good. Always questioning your perception, let alone believing in them, And you can see whether it's a deluded perception or whether it's a wisdom perception, or it's a divine perception, or it's a dharmic perception, or it's a Buddha perception. You can see them. Of course, we don't have the Buddha perception yet, but first you have to have this readily available fitness to remember the wisdom of Dharma. And almost as a result of that, your mind is reconstituted to the degree of apprehending the deluded perception. Apprehending the deluded perception as a deluded perception is also the wisdom vision. So knowing deludedness as a delusion is not deluded. It's a wisdom. It's a wisdom. Wisdom acknowledges the deludedness of the deluded vision. When you know deluded is deluded, it's not delusion, is it? You are no longer doing it. Because of that, your vision of the wisdom gives you the realization how true the teachings. When you read the teachings, they sounded good. When you heard the teaching, they sounded good. But when you do them, it's even better. It's got no word for it. It's many, many times better than that you heard, that you read. And then you can see you have realizational Dharma. You have realizational vision. This is called realizational vision. And then you can see the virtue of compassion, where you usually do not. When you usually see somebody be difficult, have a lot of problems, you really wish you didn't have those people around your life, when you're deluded. But when you have the wisdom of the Dharma, you realize these people who have difficulties. I was giving advice to some people whose daughter-in-law died, and then now he is left with two little kids, and the family family of the daughter-in-law want him out. Doesn't want him to stay in the same house in which he was living with his parent-in-law, and because their daughter died, they kicked him out and gave nothing but the two kids, and then asked him to leave. And then the mother, his mother family, she's in 70s, and husband is also 70s, and they thought they could put their feet up, no longer having to have another kid in the home. All of a sudden, they've got their son back with the little ones, and I said, it looks at the very beginning looks like crisis to you, but I say it will be a great blessings to you. The poor two grandchildren lost their mother. But if they have the good karma to have you guys as a parent-in-laws, grandparents with them, and it's very good karma for them to have the kind, loving care of you guys. You guys probably need some young ones in your home anyway, because otherwise you will feel lonely. And by talking this, they completely change the attitude. And their house is big enough to fit another two, no problem, because all the 7 kids are grown up and left, so they have a big house with nothing. And so then they change their whole attitude, and then they realize, yeah, actually, it is so true. Instead of wanting the other family to give some money or to child care or something, they say, look, they have enough. They have more than enough to look after the kids and grandchildren. Why worry? And think of the poor father who lost his own daughter, and now he's got no daughter, no grandchildren, and no son-in-law. He's the one who lost everything. You haven't lost anything. You have got your daughter back to your home, son with your home, and two of his children, and think of that as a blessings rather than as a crisis. And you got enough room, so what the hell are you talking about? They completely change their attitudes by thinking like this, and of course, we never know that who is who unless we have Dharma. When we have no Dharma, you wouldn't believe how quickly we create demon in anyone. And when we have Dharma, even the most difficult situations, we could embrace them with unconditional loving kindness and compassion. And now we know how to change our thoughts and our attitudes, and see the deludedness and no longer do them anymore. And then we have the vision of wisdom. People seek advice from Dharma. They listen to the teachings. They take notes. For what? It's for them to have this way of thinking happening. This way, being able to think like this, being able to strategize the kind of thoughts we should adopt, and kind of thought we should drop away. Knowing the thought, reading our own thoughts, and classifying them, and sorting them, and archiving some good ones, getting rid of most of them in the thought bin. You should have a thought bin. I don't know, people have all kinds of bins in their home. They don't have thought bins. You have a thought bin, You have that thought's no good, that perception no good. And once you start dropping all the certain soiled thoughts and views and opinions, when you no longer are doing them anymore, that is the real practice. That's the real practice. Then your mala you can count very good. Then the mala, then the counting has worked. Otherwise, what's the point of moving these prayer beads on and on like that? This looks like a religious kind of behavior outwardly, but if you are not developing any vision from the wisdom of doing the mantra recitation, and then probably you need to uplift your way of practicing. So therefore, vision here really means pure perception. Enlightened beings have a pure perception. Yogis have an experiential perception. In the Lamde terms, these five visions I talked today is all included in these three visions: deluded perception, and experiential perception, and the pure perception. So we are trying to get away with the deluded perception, and we are trying to develop experiential perception as a meditator. That's a vision of wisdom, so that kind of wisdom will then enable us to no longer hold those deluded views and visions. And they are not vision, they are really blindness. They are all blindness. Everything is blinding us. We are completely blinded by selfishness. We're blinded by judgment. We're blinded by attachment. And we're blinded by thinking this is too much. These things have to, until these cataracts are removed, you don't get the vision of Dharma. Wisdom vision. When you have the wisdom vision, then even you have some obvious sickness and aging and all this kind of normal suffering. You can see them as so true. I have so many years of youth and fitness and ability, but now look at that. Even I can't do this. Oh, that shows how my youth, my fitness, my abilities are all illusion. Then it's not a tragedy, it's a reality. It's not a tragedy, it's not a loss. It's a gain, it's a gain. Then there's no worldly dharma, Then loss is a gain. Then loss is a gain. You can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. You don't think about, I wish you could do. You realize, now I can really sit and meditate. It's so good. Then you can't say, I don't have time to meditate. You really can sit there and then reflect how true the Dharma is, and then reduce your attachment. And even you have some symptoms of pain and aging, you just see that many people's suffering is terribly worse than this, and so this suffering should be a cause of my developing compassion to those who have no medication, who have no facilities, who have no money or no doctor, and thinking of those things then will completely help you to recover from poor meanness. You don't suffer any the same. Why? Because you now have the vision of the Dharma again. See, only moments ago you were really moaning and groaning and suffering, poor me, poor me. All of a sudden you lifted yourself. Why? Because you are able to, you can switch on the Dharma vision of the Dharma wisdom. Whether you open a Dharma book, or whether you listen to a teaching, or whether you really meditate on what you have heard before and reflect on something, you can see all your mind coming back and surging. Your refuge in the teaching is so valid, so valid, and so then you just compare your notes and then try to meditate, try to stay very present in this wisdom of non-attachment. Yes, life is but impermanent. Youthfulness is but impermanent, and health is but impermanent, and ability is but is impermanent, and usefulness is, but is impermanent. And all things are really, really so true. So true. And then you validate that. And that when you see the wisdom, then you are empowered to practice detachment. Then you are practicing detachment. Your suffering doesn't come from your aging. Your suffering comes from attachment to youthfulness. Your suffering doesn't come from sickness. Your suffering comes from attachment to health. Your suffering doesn't come from your not being able to do these. Your suffering comes from your attachment to being able to do those things. You just have to let go of those things and just see them as illusion. See them as not a thing, and it's true, because you can't do it. You can't even ride the horse, What's the point of having 8 horses? You can't go near the horse. You can just admire them in the paddock. That's it, yeah? You can just... I know someone who has 8 horses. But now it's all feeding them. Never she can ride them because she can't ride them. So now you have to see them like that. And so that's why it's important to have the vision that sees the truth of the Dharma. Then it's inconceivable truth. We call it truth of the Dharma. We say, to realize the true path, to realize the truth, And then when you see the prevalence of sentient beings who are drowned in the suffering, then we can see the incredible suffering that there is in the world is an obvious cause of your compassion, and therefore your own suffering does not manifest when the overwhelming suffering of sentient beings is far too greater than our own share of difficulties. Our own suffering doesn't exist. Other people's suffering becomes overwhelming cause of your usefulness of practicing compassion. So therefore you realize you don't have time to suffer yourself because you don't do them anymore. But if you have any useful sufferings, it's good suffering because the suffering become cause of compassion. If you have some useful suffering of others, suffering of them, then they become cause of your compassion. See, this is the wisdom of the Dharma, enabling you to not feel downtrodden by the suffering, but woken up by the suffering. Woken up by the suffering. Suffering is seen as the cause of compassion. Compassion is not a stand-alone independent virtue. It is transformation of the aversion to suffering. In embracing the suffering and the cause of it, and those sentient beings who have it and don't have suffer from terrible disability, they don't know not to suffer. They don't want suffering, and so because of that, your heart sees these, and then your heart feels and practices and adopts the suffering as the cause of your growth and your wisdom, your detachment, your lack of aversion to suffering. You do not deny suffering, you accept suffering. You don't misunderstand suffering, you understand suffering. You don't exacerbate suffering, you make the suffering useful to increase your tolerance. So therefore, the more exposed we are to the sufferings of sentient beings, the more compassion we can and we will readily practice. It is our commitment. Even meditation is not for the sake of meditation if it wasn't to empower us to practice compassion with very, very helpless sentient beings who do not know how to undo sufferings. They don't want suffering, but they don't know how to undo it. It's just like someone who cannot reach their hand to unknot a knot of a cloth or a button or something. They're stuck and they can't undo it. So they are unable to undo that thing. They don't want that, but they're stuck in it. It's like someone who is trapped in a trap, like a deer that is trapped in a snare and didn't want to go there, and yet he didn't know it was a trap. And that's exactly, all sentient beings are completely imprisoned in their trap of anger or bitterness or aversion. And so, what a pity. And therefore, your ability to see this arouses and compassion, and this vision of Dharma reduces your attachment to some people in your life who are really going through difficulty, just because he or she is this to me or mine. Even to their suffering does not add to the suffering of yours, because your attachment to them is no use to them, let alone to you. So why do it, you know? So, but if your loving kindness is good, then any suffering, sentient being's suffering, becomes a cause of your growth, because you have now the vision of the wisdom that the practice of Dharma enables you to, or empowers you to gain this insight. So it's important to use why we meditate, why we study, is so that we are able to have this access to the vision of the wisdom of the Dharma. And you can do that by study, reading, but most of them come from meditation. Even if you study many years, even you read, write, and so on, but if you don't meditate, if you don't have the discipline to sit still, our fully enlightened Buddha attained enlightenment with austere practice, sitting motionless under that so lone tree in the middle of nowhere. When you go there, you can really feel, wow, what kind of vision Buddha must have had as a Prince Siddhartha, to give up everything but just choose to do that. Incredible compassion and vision with which he chose to do that with great hardships. But when we do a little bit of hardships, we straight away don't want to do that. You know, it's a ridiculous no show of any willingness to emulate a few days of ascetic practices. So we need to therefore rejoice the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha and the fellowship. And with this, of course, our own not only formal practice, but day-to-day attitudes will be completely, nursed by the Dharma. And we feel well. We know what to think, what not to think. And we know how to tame the mind. Incredible. And we can talk the mind into it. Mind says, "Oh gosh, you really are doing this now." And the mind can see that you are really bent on to this dharmic way. See, Dharma vision. To gain Dharma vision, you got to repeatedly keep doing that. So that's why having this kind of awareness enables us to have a compassion and tolerance with others who don't have this, who are still blind, who are still frail and old and blind, and going in the wrong direction all the time. And you don't push them saying because that's the wrong way. You don't yell at them saying they're wrong way. You slowly help them to gently bring them and help them to not let themselves go unconsciously to the direction they are otherwise going, because they don't have the vision. They are blind. And that's why in Buddhism, the ignorance, avidya, who don't have the even the sensorial vision, even the visual vision they don't have, let alone the divine vision, let alone the wisdom vision, let alone the Dharma vision, let alone the Buddha vision. So that's why it is important to be aware of how many sentient beings, majority of them, have no Dharma. Incredible. They have everything materially, but very few have Dharma. And even if the few people doing Dharma, they're only doing intellectual level. They are not really they don't believe in the Buddha or the Dharma as people who have refuge in the Triple Gem does. It's so few human beings have this rare reserve of merit to have unconditional refuge in the Triple Gem. And that's why precious human rebirth is very rare, not because human beings are rare, but those who truly have the refuge in the Triple Gem and continue to reiterate themselves and apply the Dharma everyday life is not only challenging, but it's very, very rewarding. Whatever is challenging is useful. Means you're doing something useful. You know, the pill that really cures is bitter. They're not sweet. You know. so the teachings are teachings that hurt your ego is a teaching, they call it. Damngak Tsangla Popa, I mean the Tibetans say. The instructions should hit straight away the weakest link of the person. So if they're lazy, it really know they're lazy. If whatever it is, they know how they should do the Dharma and enable themselves to gain the insight that they otherwise lack. So with this we'll conclude here. Thank you everybody. Of course there's enormous merit in sharing these prayers and thoughts to many people. Our world is really, really cataracted by wrong choices of the whole world, going in a very violent war, you know, terrible pandemic, diseases, violence. Have a spare of couple of thoughts and prayers compassionately to those people traumatized by these massacres that are happening around the world. And more recently, just here in Sydney, could you believe it? Incredible how when people lose their mind to whatever their trauma, aggression, he never found the help that can help him to actually contain his neurosis, but he went on the rampage of violence. Incredible how many people have been directly affected by that. So please offer these prayers for these and many others. May I'll have a bit from the ocean of Buddha's in and Mahayana Jiji whatever merit I have may all be because the levels to the Mahayana Jiji courage manjushin yote as ama tabara de la follow him all the zang aja de all the mere the sele odi jeda tebe mere na yedanzo where has been permitted really without generation. Thank you, everyone.